In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at Tropical Storm Felipe. This storm is now expected to become a post-tropical storm, as you can see later on in the track, and eventually potentially hit New England, which is very interesting, and the second time that something like this has happened. So we're seeing a second tropical-ish system hit the northeast of the United States. So just a very interesting hurricane season that they've had up there overall. We're going to be talking about that among the upcoming pattern, where the temperature pattern now is expected to turn cold and then just kind of stay cold. So we're going to be talking all about that later on, and even taking a long range look through the rest of October into the month of November. Now, before we do so, be sure to check out our other business, Prestige Weather, in the description and the pinned comment down below, where you can get early access to all of our monthly and seasonal outlooks. And we do weekly consulting calls as well as other consulting services within our community. So be sure to check it out. It's only $5 a month, and you can find it in the pinned comment and description down below. Let's get into things. And as you can see, Felipe, first off, through the coming days is going to be moving relatively slow northward, staying a tropical storm, speeding up after Thursday, as you can see, slightly. And by slightly, I mean actually doubling in speed, perhaps, because it actually is going to start to really move at that point. And then by the time it's reaching basically north of Bermuda, we can see it's really picking up in speed. Likely going to take on more characteristics of a nor'easter later on. We will see that in the upcoming pattern phase as we take a look at it, but that's going to be for Saturday, Sunday time frame, where we will see this one impacting these northeast regions. So we're going to take a look at that among everything else in just a minute in the upcoming pattern. Let's just take a look at the overall tropics, and I mean, not a whole lot to discuss here. Clearly, nothing. I mean, Felipe, and then that's it. So we are looking at no disturbances as of now potentially developing, though over the coming days we could see some start to pop up. That is always a chance and something that we really closely need to pay attention to. As we take a look at the upcoming pattern, we can see ongoing this afternoon, so a little bit earlier. This video is coming out very late for my standards, at least. We can see snowfall developing throughout Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado. So up and down the Rockies, we do have some high elevation snowfall behind a pretty strong 998 millibar low pressure center there, looking quite intense. As we take a look at, and there's our emojis, that's been a while since that's happened. As we take a look at Wednesday, October 4th here, what we end up seeing is that low basically moves up into Canada here, pretty broad. We do have the main low pressure system there and then a secondary low down here. Overall, some pretty low pressure everywhere, and we are seeing that pay dividends to these areas as a lot of rainfall is coming down as a result of this. We even have another low out here in further west areas in Canada, and we see just overall a lot of Canada seeing some showery activity as fall really is in full swing, maybe even turning wintry for most areas in Canada by this point. We do see a lot of thunderstorm development here for the deeper south, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana. So we're seeing a lot of these areas dealing with some thunderstorm activity. Thursday here, October 5th, we see a 998 millibar low pressure center there to the north of Minnesota and to the north there of Wisconsin. So we see a lot of these areas seeing some showery activity as a result of that. We do have a bit of a frontal boundary set up here, stretching all the way from the Mexico-Texas border northward to areas in between Michigan and Canada there, and stretching pretty far northward into Canada as well. And we can see this Arctic air set up behind everything, so this is really looking to take aim at the east over time, so we're watching for that extremely closely. By the time we take a look at Friday, October 6th here, we see a large ridge developing here in the west, and this trough is looking quite potent. So we are seeing significantly below normal temperatures by this point here for the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and it's only going to continue to move eastward as we see this cold front, again, like I said, pushing further and further eastward, and this warmth building further north and further east. It's going to continue to force that cold air to move in eastward. What we see by the time we reach Saturday is that does take effect here. We see Felipe there as a remnants thereof as a 997 millibar low pressure center. We see this massive, healthy looking ridge taking place here. We see an inversion of the trough here where we see it kind of makes an S there. And this is going to set up for some pretty intense storminess to fill in this gap here, including Felipe and also this 1003 millibar low pressure center there over eastern Canada. So we have a couple of interesting things happening here in the east, and that is going to set up for quite a bit of rainfall, as you can see. First off, with this storminess that's already over place, and then Felipe that eventually moves in towards Maine here on Sunday morning, October 8th, as you can see. That is going to be a huge factor as we move forward. Now, as we take a look at this time frame as well, we can see this ridge is still looking extremely healthy here. And we also see that this trough, I mean, this is digging very deep there throughout areas in the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes. And we can see areas of storminess filling back in towards Canada, which is causing more of this cold air to funnel in between these two ridge areas. So this is only intensifying the matter and worsening the issues for the most part. By the time we're reaching Monday, October 9th timeframe, we do see some cooler air again set up for a lot of areas in the east here. Still overhead and featuring some rainfall. Ridge is still looking very healthy out west. Let's keep going, and by the time we reach Tuesday, it's very quiet, but still cooler air in the east. Wednesday, October 11th, maybe seeing some trough activity trying to develop here in the west, but still this ridge is the main feature here, and we still see cold air pouring in down the eastern seaboard. We'll see the temperatures in a minute. By Thursday, October 12th, we do see some storms building in near the Four Corner states. Again, still just some cooler air along that eastern seaboard area, and still some warmth overall for the west and the central states. And really, we don't see any of this change through the entire upcoming pattern, as I mentioned. So that is definitely the main thing to be talked about here. Let's take a look here at the total precipitation. We can see above average amounts along that northwestern seaboard there. Also for areas in the south central states, we're seeing quite a bit of this. And then throughout the areas close to the Canadian border here, that includes the Northeast, the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest there. As you can see, it's pretty spotty, but there is some areas of above average activity in there as well. Overall, though, I mean, less precipitation than we've seen over the past few months, which makes sense. I mean, we're moving into October and November eventually. We're going to see less of those daily thunderstorms, of course, and more big systems that move through. It's just going to be hit or miss who sees that and who doesn't. Now, the temperature pattern overall, we see the warmth builds in for the east here for the upcoming week. And it's going to feel quite pleasant, but we see that Arctic blast move in simultaneously. We're seeing this warm up really building in here for the west there, as you can see. So cold air has dived southward here, really dove in. And the warmth is still along the eastern seaboard. This is by Saturday morning, but by Saturday evening, what we see is that this Arctic blast has fully moved into the eastern states. Lots of greens showing up here, which is going to indicate 10 to 15 degrees below normal, so a pretty significant departure from what's typical. Ridge is looking very healthy out west. And look at this. I mean, we really just see this continue all the way through the end of the model run, which is going to be for Friday, October 13th, where we still have these cooler temperatures in the east, and we still have the warmer temperatures out west here. And that is not looking to change anytime soon, according to this European model. As we take a look here at the long-range guidance, it shows the same thing. We see this cool down move in for the 8th through the 13th time frame. Very brief warm-up, perhaps, and then cooler air moves back in for the 17th and 22nd. And it kind of just stays that way through the end of October. We see the beginning of November looking quite cool. And then even towards the middle portion of November, there's a lot of cooler air in the east and a lot of warmer air out west. Certainly a very interesting pattern. Definitely looking a lot colder than even just the past couple of days. And we're going to continue to update you guys on all of this daily. So be sure to subscribe for these daily weather uploads. Again, we upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload, so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.